Come, settle in. Let the weight of the day drift away like a feather on a gentle breeze. Let your mind quieten and your body grow heavy and soft. We are going on a journey tonight, not across land or sea, but through time and space, to a quiet field in the heart of Ohio, on a warm summer night long ago. The year is 1977. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and sweet clover, and the only sound is the symphony of the night. A million tiny crickets rub their legs together, creating a soft, shimmering blanket of sound that rises and falls with the rhythm of your own breathing. An owl calls from a distant stand of oak trees, a low, questioning hoot that echoes once and then is absorbed by the stillness. Above, the sky is a vast, deep ocean of velvet black, strewn with the diamond dust of a billion stars. The Milky Way, our own cosmic home, is a soft, luminous river flowing from one horizon to the other, a celestial cloud of impossible beauty. In this quiet field, under this magnificent sky, stands a giant. Not a giant of flesh and bone, but of metal and wire and quiet purpose. It is the Big Ear radio telescope. It does not look like the giant dish you might imagine. Instead, it is a vast, flat expanse of metal mesh, like a strange, futuristic football field laid upon the gentle Ohio soil. At one end, a great curved wall of metal, like a section of a colossal sphere, rises towards the stars. At the other, two large, horn-like structures stand sentinel, their wide mouths pointed at the curved reflector. This giant is not built to see, but to listen. It is an ear cupped and turned towards the heavens, straining to hear the faintest whispers from the cosmos. For decades, it has been listening, day and night, through sun and storm. It listens to the steady hiss of distant galaxies, the rhythmic pulse of dying stars called pulsars, and the gentle, ever-present hum of the universe's own background radiation, the faint echo of its fiery birth. The Big Ear is a patient creature. It does not move or swivel to track the stars. Instead, it uses the Earth's own rotation as its guide. As our planet spins on its silent axis, different slivers of the sky drift slowly, gracefully, across the telescope's field of view. For 72 seconds, and 72 seconds only, any single point in the sky is held in its gaze. A fleeting moment. A brief window to listen before the Earth turns and the view moves on. Tonight, like every other night, the telescope is doing its silent work. The soft starlight glints off its metallic surfaces. The warm summer breeze whispers through its wire mesh, making a sound like a long, slow exhalation. It is listening, listening for something special, listening for a sign, a pattern, a voice in the overwhelming static of the cosmos. It is part of a grand and hopeful quest, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, or SETI. The idea is as simple as it is profound. Out there, among the countless stars and their unseen planets, could there be others like us? Other beings who look up at their own night skies and wonder? Other civilizations that have learned the language of the universe, the language of radio waves, and might be sending a message, a simple hello, across the unimaginable void. It is a question born of the deepest human curiosity, a hope for connection in the vast, lonely expanse of space. And so, the Big Ear listens. It doesn't listen to just any frequency. It listens to a very special, very quiet channel. A frequency around 1420 megahertz. This isn't a random choice. This is the frequency naturally emitted by neutral hydrogen, the most common element in the entire universe. It is the sound of the cosmos itself. Scientists reasoned that any intelligent civilization wanting to send a message would choose this fundamental universal frequency. It would be like choosing to shout in a language that everyone, everywhere, would understand. It is a protected channel, a slice of the radio spectrum where all earthly transmissions are forbidden, a quiet cosmic park set aside just for listening. Inside a small, unassuming building near the telescope, machinery hums with a low, steady drone. This is the heart of the big ear, where the faint signals gathered by the giant reflectors are amplified and processed. The air inside smells of warm electronics, old paper, and the faint metallic scent of ozone. Wires run in thick bundles along the walls, connecting racks of equipment filled with glowing dials and blinking lights. And here, the story of the signal is not written in light, but in numbers and letters on long, continuous sheets of computer paper. A line printer, a noisy, clattering machine, punches out the data, line by line, second by second. For every channel the telescope listens to, it prints a character. Most of the time, the paper is filled with a monotonous stream of ones, twos, and threes. These numbers represent the background noise of the universe, the constant, gentle static, like the sound of a seashell held to your ear. A1 means a very low intensity. A2, a little stronger. A3, a bit stronger still. It is the sound of cosmic silence, translated into a code. The telescope has been running for days. The printer has been chattering away, filling box after box with these long, folded sheets of paper. The data from tonight, this warm August night, is being printed now, a long, rhythmic clatter in the quiet control room. But no one is there to see it. The telescope is largely automated. Its work is done in solitude, under the patient gaze of the stars. The story it is capturing will wait for a few days, folded neatly in a cardboard box, for a human eye to see it. Let us leave the telescope now, in its peaceful, patient vigil. Let the sound of the crickets and the soft whisper of the wind through the mesh lull you. Feel the slow, steady turning of the earth beneath you. The stars wheel overhead in their silent, majestic dance. Everything is calm. Everything is as it has been for 1,000 nights before. But on this night, something is different. A whisper has crossed the gulf of space. A message in a bottle, thrown into the cosmic ocean an unknown time ago, has just washed ashore. A few days later, a young astronomer named Jerry Ehman sits down at a kitchen table. The sun is streaming through the window, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. The smell of coffee hangs in the room. In front of him is a stack of the computer printouts from the big ear, a few days' worth of listening. Jerry is a volunteer, driven not by pay, but by a deep and abiding passion for the stars and the great question of whether we are alone. His job is a patient one, a form of cosmic archaeology. He scans the long columns of numbers and letters, looking for anything out of the ordinary. It is mostly a thankless task. Page after page, column after column, it is the same familiar, random-seeming string of low numbers. 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2. The gentle, unchanging hum of the universe. His eyes move methodically down the page, a familiar and meditative rhythm. He is not expecting to find anything. The odds are, quite literally, astronomical, but hope is the fuel of this entire endeavor. He turns a page, more columns of data. The paper is wide, with 50 columns representing 50 different frequency channels the telescope was listening to. His eyes scan across the rows. 1, 2, 1, and then he stops. His breath catches in his throat. There, in the second column, something is different. Something is profoundly, undeniably different. Amidst the sea of low numbers, a sequence stands out, sharp and clear and utterly unbelievable. It reads, 6EQUJ5. Let's pause here and understand what Jerry is seeing. The computer used a simple code. Numbers 1 through 9 represented increasing levels of signal strength. Once the signal got stronger than 9, it switched to letters. A meant 10 times the background noise. B meant 11 times. C meant 12 times, and so on. The sequence 6, EQUJ5, is a perfect story. It starts with a 6, already stronger than the usual background noise. Then, As the Earth's rotation carries the source of the signal directly into the center of the telescope's beam, the intensity skyrockets. E6. That's 14 times the background noise. Then, Q. Vientation frenzy. That's 26 times the background noise. An incredible crescendo. Then, vientation frenzy. 30 times the background noise. A pure, powerful, piercing note held against the silence of space. Jerry's heart is pounding, a soft, rhythmic drum against the quiet morning. He knows what this shape means. The signal rose in intensity, peaked, and then fell away, precisely matching the 72-second window that the big ear observes any single point in the sky. It was a perfect bell curve. It looked exactly, perfectly, like a signal from a fixed point in deep space should look. He looks at the numbers and letters again. 6EQUJ5. It's not just strong, it's narrow. It appears in only one of the 50 columns. This means it was on a very specific, narrow frequency band. Not the broad, messy static of a natural phenomenon like a quasar or a nebula. It was a clear, clean tone. Like a single flute playing a single, sustained note in a vast, empty concert hall. His mind races, but his hand is steady. He picks up a red pen. The bright color feels strangely loud against the monochrome printout. He draws a circle around the sequence, 6EQUJ5. He circles it again, the red ink bleeding slightly into the cheap paper. And then, in the margin, overcome with a sense of pure, unadulterated awe, he writes a single word. A word that will echo through the decades and become the name for this cosmic mystery. He writes, wow, just that, wow, not a scientific notation, not a complex equation. Just a simple, human expression of profound wonder. In that moment, Jerry Ehman is not just a scientist looking at data. He is a representative for all of humanity, staring at a possible whisper from the stars, a potential answer to the oldest question we have ever asked. Are we alone? And for a breathtaking moment, the answer printed on the paper in front of him seems to be a resounding no. Let that feeling of wonder settle over you. The quiet kitchen, the sunlit dust motes, the smell of coffee, and on a piece of paper, a message that has traveled for an unknown number of years, from an unknown place, to arrive in this quiet moment. It is a moment of pure, peaceful possibility, a secret whispered between the universe and a single human being. The news of the wow signal spread not like a wildfire, but like a slow, deep current through the community of astronomers. There was no panic, no frantic press conference. There was just a deep, quiet excitement, a shared sense of awe. The first thing they did, of course, was to check everything. Science is a careful, methodical process. The wonder must be tempered with skepticism. Could it have been a fault in the telescope's electronics? A glitch in the computer? They checked the logs, the machinery, the code. Everything was working perfectly. The hardware was sound. Could it have been an earthly signal? This was the most likely culprit. Our own planet is a noisy place, electronically speaking. Could it have been a stray radio transmission, a military signal, or even a commercial broadcast reflecting off a piece of space debris, like a weather balloon or a forgotten satellite? The astronomers considered this with great care. They imagined a satellite tumbling through space, its metallic surface catching a radio signal from Earth and reflecting it back down into the waiting dish of the big ear. It was a plausible idea, but the more they looked at the signal's fingerprint, the less it seemed to fit. For one thing, the frequency. That special, protected channel of 1,420 megahertz. Transmitting on this band is forbidden by international agreement. It would be like someone setting up a rock concert in the quietest room of a grand library. While not impossible, it would be a strange and deliberate violation. More importantly, the signal had a unique character. It was there for 72 seconds and then it was gone. Completely. If it were a satellite or an airplane, you would expect the signal to return. Satellites orbit the Earth on predictable paths. Airplanes fly across the sky. The Big Ear team pointed the telescope back to that exact same patch of sky, night after night, week after week. They listened with an even greater sense of anticipation now. They waited for the echo, for the second, hello, the why. But it never came. The sky in that direction remained silent. The printouts returned to their monotonous stream of ones and twos. The great cosmic hum was all that remained. This deepening silence made an earthly source less and less likely. A reflected signal would almost certainly have been detected again, as the object continued its journey. This was a one-time event, a single, fleeting whisper. So they turned their gaze outwards, to the cosmos itself. Could a natural, astronomical phenomenon have created such a strange and powerful signal? The universe is full of bizarre and wonderful things, objects that defy our earthly intuition. Perhaps this was just another one. They considered pulsars. These are the collapsed cores of massive stars, spinning incredibly fast, hundreds of times a second. As they spin, they sweep beams of radiation across the cosmos, like a celestial lighthouse. From Earth, we see these beams as incredibly regular pulses of radio waves. A pulsar is a cosmic clock, ticking with unimaginable precision. But the wow signal wasn't a repeating pulse. It was a single, continuous wave that grew and then faded over 72 seconds. It didn't have the rhythmic signature of a pulsar, so they gently set that possibility aside. What about something called interstellar scintillation? It's a bit like the twinkling of a star. A star's light seems to twinkle because it's being distorted as it passes through the turbulence of Earth's atmosphere. A similar thing can happen with radio waves as they travel through the thin gas and plasma between the stars. A distant, steady radio source could, in theory, have its signal focused and amplified for a brief moment by this cosmic lens effect, causing a sudden, bright flash. It was an intriguing idea, a cosmic fluke, a chance alignment of interstellar gas focusing the light of a distant, ordinary quasar into an extraordinary beam. But again, the fingerprint didn't quite match. Scintillation tends to affect a wide range of frequencies at once. The signal was incredibly narrow, confined to that single, tiny channel. It was too clean, too pure, like a laser beam, not a floodlight. The puzzle piece of scintillation was close, but it didn't quite fit. And so, one by one, the natural explanations were examined and found wanting. Each time a possibility was dismissed, the mystery deepened. The silence from that patch of sky grew more profound. The red circle on that old computer printout seemed to glow with a greater significance. The search continued for years, then decades. Other, more powerful telescopes were built. They were pointed at that same patch of sky, in the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, near a star cluster called M55. They listened with far greater sensitivity than the old Big Ear ever could. They listened for hours, for days, for months. They strained their electronic ears, hoping to catch a repeat, a confirmation, another whisper from the source of the wow signal. But there was only silence. The universe kept its secret. The signal remained a ghost, a perfect fleeting anomaly. A single, 72-second event in the entire history of our listening. Let's drift now into the heart of this gentle mystery. Let go of the need for an answer. The beauty of this story is not in the solution, but in the question itself. Imagine that signal, traveling through the dark. Picture it as a single, perfect ripple on a vast, still pond. For how long did it travel? We have no way of knowing. It came from the direction of Sagittarius, towards the center of our galaxy. The stars in that direction are thousands, even tens of thousands of light years away. A light year is the distance light travels in a single year, an almost incomprehensibly vast distance. If the signal came from a star system just a few thousand light years away, then it began its journey long before the pyramids were built. It traveled through space while empires rose and fell on Earth. It passed unseen through beautiful, swirling nebulas, clouds of gas and dust where new stars are being born. It journeyed on while our own ancestors were first learning to chart the stars, naming the constellations, and telling stories about the figures they saw in the night sky. All that time, this single, pure note was flying towards us, a silent arrow aimed at the future. And who or what could have sent it? Let your imagination wander gently. Perhaps it was a beacon, a lighthouse on a cosmic shore, designed to run for millions of years, sweeping its beam across the galaxy. Maybe the Earth, in its long journey around the Milky Way, just happened to pass through that beam for a fleeting 72 seconds. A chance encounter of cosmic proportions. We were in the right place, at the right time, listening on the right channel, for just over a minute. And then, we drifted out of the beam, and the sky fell silent again. Or perhaps it wasn't a beacon, but a targeted message. A civilization that had been watching our world, studying us from afar. Maybe they saw the first glimmers of our own technology, our own radio signals leaking out into space. And in response, they sent a powerful, focused greeting. A simple, unambiguous hello sent on the universal hydrogen frequency, with a strength designed to get our attention. A message that said, "We see you, you are not alone." Why only once? Why the long silence afterwards? Perhaps the message was all they intended to send. A single, cosmic postcard. Or perhaps, in the time it took for their signal to reach us, their civilization has faded into history. The sender is long gone, and all that remains is their final fading whisper, still traveling across the void. It's a sobering, yet beautiful thought. A message in a bottle from a civilization that no longer exists. Let these possibilities wash over you, not as frightening thoughts, but as gentle waves of wonder. The universe is so much larger, older and stranger than we can possibly imagine. The silence we hear might not be emptiness, but simply the result of vast distances and the immense patience required for a conversation across the stars. Years passed. The Big Ear telescope continued its work for a time, but eventually it was surpassed by newer, more advanced instruments. In 1998, the Great Patient Listener was dismantled. The giant metal structures were taken down, and the quiet field in Ohio was returned to nature. But its legacy, the story of the signal it caught on that warm August night, lives on. The printout, with Jerry Ehman's red circle and his single, excited word, is preserved, a sacred relic of a moment of profound connection. More recently, a new, more mundane explanation has been suggested. Some astronomers have proposed that the signal could have been caused by a comet. Comets are known to be surrounded by vast, invisible clouds of hydrogen gas. As a comet passed in front of the telescope, this hydrogen cloud could, in theory, have generated a signal at the right frequency. Two comets were, in fact, in that general area of the sky in 1977, though they were not known at the time. This is a clever and plausible idea. It feels less magical, perhaps. It replaces the idea of a galactic greeting with a cosmic coincidence of gas and ice. And for a time, many thought this might be the final answer, the solution to the long-standing puzzle. But even this explanation has its problems. Other astronomers have pointed out that a comet's hydrogen cloud would be unlikely to produce a signal so strong and so sharply defined. And if it was a comet, why have the hundreds of other comets that have passed through telescope beams since then never produced a similar signal? Why this one, just once? The comet hypothesis is another piece of the puzzle, but for many it doesn't quite fit either. The mystery remains open. The question mark Jerry Ehman drew in the margin still hangs in the air, and perhaps that is for the best. Because the true gift of the signal is not the answer it might provide, but the wonder it inspires. It reminds us that the universe is a place of profound mystery and endless possibility. It encourages us to keep listening, to keep looking up, to keep asking the big questions. So let your mind drift back to that quiet field in Ohio. The crickets are still singing their ancient song. The soft breeze still rustles the leaves in the nearby trees. The stars are still scattered like jewels on black velvet. The earth is still turning, slowly and silently, carrying us all on a journey through the cosmos. Imagine you are lying in that field, looking up at the river of the Milky Way. You can feel the cool, damp grass beneath you. You can smell the rich, loamy earth. Your breathing slows, matching the gentle rhythm of the night. In and out, the universe is breathing with you. Up there, in the direction of Sagittarius, is the spot, the patch of sky from which the whisper came. It looks no different from any other patch of sky, just a scattering of faint stars. But now, you know its secret. You know that from this very spot, a signal of incredible power and purity washed over our planet for 72 seconds. A signal that rose to a magnificent crescendo, held a perfect note, and then faded back into the eternal silence. What was it? A greeting from a distant star? A cosmic lighthouse sweeping its beam across our world? The echo of a long-dead civilization? A chance reflection off a piece of forgotten space junk? The whisper of a passing comet's hydrogen tail? We may never know, and that is perfectly all right. Let the mystery be a soft blanket, tucking you in. Let the unanswered question be a gentle lullaby. The story of the WOW signal is a reminder that we live in a magical, wondrous place. We are inhabitants of a small blue world, circling an ordinary star, in a quiet corner of a vast galaxy. And yet for one brief moment, it seems the universe may have turned its head and whispered our name. The silence that followed is not an empty silence. It is a silence filled with potential. It is the silence of a vast library with billions of books we have not yet opened. It is the silence of a deep ocean, full of life we have not yet discovered. It is a peaceful, hopeful silence. The search continues. Even now, as you lie here, ready for sleep, new telescopes are listening. Giant dishes in remote deserts, arrays of antennas in quiet valleys, all over the world, they are cupping their ears to the heavens. They are sifting through the cosmic static, just as Jerry Ehman did, looking for a pattern, a signal, a single note of intention in the grand, chaotic symphony of the universe. They are listening for the next wow moment. And as you drift off to sleep, carry that sense of wonder with you. Dream of the stars. Dream of the vast, quiet spaces between them. Dream of the patient journey of a single radio wave, traveling for millennia through the dark, carrying a message of unknown origin. Let go of the day. Let go of your thoughts. Just feel the gentle pull of sleep. The crickets' song is fading now, becoming a soft, distant hum. The night air is cool and still. The stars continue their slow, silent waltz across the heavens. Everything is peaceful. Everything is calm. The universe is vast, and we are a small part of it. But we are a listening part, a wondering part, and in our ability to look up and ask the question, we are as much a part of the cosmos's wonder as any distant star or mysterious signal. The wow was not just out there, in the sky. It was also here, inside us, in the heart of a young astronomer at his kitchen table, in the minds of all who have heard the story, and now, in your own peaceful, drifting consciousness as you slip into a deep and restful sleep. The story of the WOW signal is, in the end, a story about listening. It's about the importance of being quiet and patient in a noisy world. It's about paying attention to the small, fleeting moments that can change our perspective forever. The telescope in the field was just a machine of metal and wire, but it was built with a deeply human hope, the hope of connection. Think about the silence of space. It's not an empty, dead silence. It's a silence full of energy, full of radiation, full of the light from stars that died before our planet was even born. It's a silence that contains all the stories of the universe, written in a language of light and gravity and time that we are only just beginning to learn to read. The 72 seconds of the wow signal were a moment when that silence was broken. It was as if someone or something cleared their throat in the quiet of a grand cathedral. For just a moment, the background murmur was replaced by a clear, focused voice. And then, it was gone, leaving only the memory and the endless, ringing question. Let that question dissolve now, as you sink deeper into comfort and rest. It doesn't need an answer tonight. Tonight, it is simply a key, unlocking a door in your mind to a place of cosmic peace. A place where you can float, untethered, among the stars. Feel your body growing heavier, your limbs becoming warm and leaden. Your bed is a safe, soft spaceship, carrying you through the night. The gentle hum you hear is the sound of the universe, the same background noise that the Big Ear telescope listened to for so many years. It is the sound of existence itself, a soft, cosmic lullaby. The constellation Sagittarius has long since set below the horizon. The Earth has turned, and new constellations now grace the midnight sky. But that spot, that source, is still out there. Whether it was a comet, or a satellite, or a beacon from another world, it is part of the celestial tapestry. It is a fixed point in our story, a landmark in our search for meaning. Imagine the printout paper again, the long, folded sheets, the columns of numbers. And there, that beautiful, startling sequence, 6EQUJ5. It's like a line of poetry written in a language we don't understand. The rise and fall of the numbers and letters is a melody, a short, powerful piece of music, played once and never again. The red circle Jerry Ehman drew is a frame around a masterpiece of cosmic art. His handwritten, "Wow," is the signature of the audience, the signature of all of us. It is our collective gasp of astonishment. Let that feeling of gentle astonishment be the last thing you hold on to as you drift away. Not the sharp shock of a surprise, but the soft, slow-blooming wonder of seeing a shooting star, or of hearing a beautiful piece of music for the first time. It is a feeling that expands the soul and quiets the mind. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence is often portrayed as a frantic, high-tech race. But at its heart, it is a profoundly quiet and meditative act. It is an act of faith. Faith that we are not a cosmic accident, a lonely fluke, but part of a much larger and perhaps much richer story. The wow signal is the most tantalizing evidence we have that this faith might be rewarded. Sleep now. Let the story of the stars become your own. The universe will continue its silent, magnificent work while you rest. Stars will be born in fiery clouds of gas. Galaxies will continue their slow, gravitational dance over billions of years. And our own small planet will continue its journey through the quiet, listening dark. Perhaps one day, another signal will arrive. Or perhaps the wow signal will forever remain a beautiful, solitary mystery. Either way, its story has changed us. It has stretched our imagination and deepened our sense of our place in the cosmos. It has taught us that even in a universe that seems silent, it is always, always worth listening. The crickets have fallen silent. The owl has found its perch for the night. A deep and profound hush has settled over the Ohio fields and over the world. The only sound now is the soft, steady rhythm of your own breathing, in and out. A quiet, living signal in the vastness of the night. Rest well. Dream of distant worlds and gentle whispers. The stars are watching over you. The mystery is keeping you company. And all is calm, all is peaceful. Sleep.